Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers Tuesday, August 27. Rick's encounter, unlikely pair bonding, Laura's bad news, Tracy's tongue lashing. General Hospital, GH, spoilers for Tuesday, August 27 warn fans to brace themselves for some confrontations and face-offs. First off, Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, will have a run-in with two of his Port Charles exes that day. GH spoilers for Tuesday's show note, he'll take some time to pay Alexis Davis, Nancy Lee Grahn, and it looks like their meeting will get a little heated. During the soap's daily preview video, Rick is seen offering Alexis a warning of sorts, stating that he suggests she seize that chance or she won't get another one. This is definitely about Molly Lansing Davis, Kristen Vaginos, and the fact that Alexis was helping Christina Corinthos Davis, Kate Mansi, petition for custody of the baby before she passed away. Molly is extremely hurt by her mom and sister's actions, so is there anything that can help bring the Davis sisters back together? Still, Alexis won't be the only ex Rick runs into on Tuesday, as added teasers note that he'll also see Elizabeth Baldwin, Rebecca Hurst, when he drops by the hospital. Sounds like Rick will want to catch up with her. However, Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, will stop him dead in his tracks. Considering the history with these three, it's ironic that Carly and Liz are together when Rick sees his ex for the first time in years. In related news, Heather Weber, Allie Mills, will confide in Nurse Baldwin about something. Will Liz keep her secret? Over to Molly, she'll have some unexpected bonding time with Dex Heller, Avon Hofer, of all people, as she confides in the rookie cop. The GH preview video for Tuesday shows the two having a deep conversation. Should TJ Ashford, Taj Bello, and Jocelyn Jack, Eden McCoy, be worried? Across town, GH spoilers imply that Laura Collins, Jenny Francis, delivers some bad news to someone. As Nicholas Cassadine, Adam Huss, was being tested as a possible liver donor for his sister, Lulu Spencer, last played by M. Raylan, on Monday's show, the test results will be in on Tuesday, and it sounds like he won't be a match. Bone marrow and a liver are two very different things. And from the sounds of it, the only person who can save Lulu's day is her brother Lucky Spencer, Jonathan Jackson. Speaking of Lulu, Joss and Carly will run into Dr. Portia Robinson, Brooke Care, and the ladies will be looking for an update on their cousin's condition. Will the good doctor pass on any information to the mother-daughter duo? Lastly, GH spoilers note that Tracy Quartermaine, Jane Elliott, gives someone a piece of her mind. From the looks of it, that someone will be Dante Falconeri, Dominic Zamprogna. Per the soap's daily preview video for Tuesday, August 27, Dante and Tracy will be at the hospital's chapel when Tracy angrily tells the cop, "Lulu had spirit, determination, you robbed her of it." Yikes, does Dante deserve to hear this? General Hospital spoilers imply that Tuesday's show will be a pivotal day for moving several storylines forward, so it'll be a show fans won't want to miss. Port Charles was buzzing with anticipation as the day began, but no one could have predicted the whirlwind of emotions that would unfold. Tuesday, August 27, promised to be a day of unexpected alliances, painful revelations, and fiery confrontations that would leave its residents reeling. Rick Lansing's unnerving encounter. Rick Lansing had always prided himself on being one step ahead of everyone else, but that confidence was about to be shaken. As he walked through the familiar halls of General Hospital, he couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching him. It was subtle at first, a flicker of movement in the corner of his eye, the feeling of being trailed just out of sight. Rick was a man who had made many enemies over the years, and paranoia was a constant companion, but this felt different. More immediate. More dangerous. His thoughts were interrupted when he nearly collided with a figure emerging from one of the hospital's shadowed corridors. It was a face he hadn't expected to see: Margus Dawson, the former DA with whom Rick had shared a complicated history. Their last encounter had been anything but amicable, and Rick had assumed she was long gone from Port Charles. Yet here she was, her eyes narrowing with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. "Rick Lansing," she said, her voice laced with a hint of a challenge. "I didn't expect to see you skulking around the hospital." Rick forced a smile, though his mind raced to understand her sudden reappearance. "Margus, it's been a while. What brings you back to town?" Margus' lips curled into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Let's just say I have unfinished business. And it seems you do too." Before Rick could respond, Margus leaned in, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Be careful, Rick. Port Charles is full of surprises, and not all of them are pleasant." With that cryptic warning, she turned on her heel and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Rick with more questions than answers. He knew one thing for certain: he would need to watch his back. Unlikely pair bonding, Nina and Cody. Meanwhile, across town at the Metro Court, Nina Reeves found herself in a situation she never would have anticipated. Seated at the bar with a drink in hand, she was joined by Cody Bell, the charming and often unpredictable stable hand with a checkered past. Their paths had crossed before, but they had never shared more than a passing conversation. Yet today, circumstances conspired to bring them together. Nina had been nursing a heavy heart, still reeling from the fallout of her latest confrontation with Carly. The two women had clashed over Sunny once again, and Nina was left questioning her choices. As she stared into her glass, lost in thought, Cody sidled up next to her. "Rough day?" Cody asked, his tone light, but his eyes holding a depth of understanding that caught Nina off guard. She looked up, surprised to find genuine concern in his gaze. "You could say that. Just trying to make sense of things." Cody nodded, signaling the bartender for a drink. "I hear you. Sometimes it feels like no matter what you do, it's never enough." Nina studied him for a moment, sensing a kindred spirit in the most unexpected place. "You two, huh? I wouldn't have guessed." Cody chuckled, a rueful smile tugging at his lips. "Life has a funny way of knocking you down when you least expect it. But I guess the trick is figuring out how to get back up." As the two continued to talk, Nina found herself opening up in a way she hadn't anticipated. Cody, for all his rough edges, had a way of cutting through the noise and getting to the heart of the matter. By the time they finished their drinks, Nina realized that she had made a new friend, an unlikely ally in a town where trust was hard to come by. Laura's bad news. Over at City Hall, Laura Collins was facing her own set of challenges. As the mayor of Port Charles, she was used to dealing with crises, but today's news hit closer to home than she expected. A report had landed on her desk earlier that morning, and as she read through the details, her heart sank. The information was damning, and it threatened to unravel months of hard work. Laura knew she had to act quickly, but as she prepared to address the situation, she couldn't shake the feeling of dread that settled over her. This was more than just a political scandal. It had the potential to affect the people she cared about most. With a heavy heart, she picked up the phone and dialed a number she knew by heart. "Kevin, it's me," she said when her husband answered. "I need to talk to you. It's about the redevelopment project. There's something you need to know." As she explained the situation to Kevin, Laura could hear the concern in his voice. They had both invested so much in making Port Charles a better place, and this setback was more than just a professional disappointment. It was personal. "We'll get through this, Laura," Kevin assured her, though she could hear the uncertainty in his tone. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. Laura nodded, though the weight of the news still pressed heavily on her. She knew that the road ahead would be difficult, but with Kevin by her side, she felt a glimmer of hope. They had weathered storms before, and they would do so again. Tracy's tongue lashing. Back at the Quartermaine mansion, Tracy Quartermaine was in rare form. The matriarch of the family had never been one to mince words, and today was no exception. Her target, Brooklyn, who had once again found herself on the wrong side of Tracy's ire. "Brooklyn, what were you thinking?" Tracy's voice rang through the mansion, sharp and unforgiving. "Do you have any idea what kind of trouble you've brought down on this family?" Brooklyn, to her credit, stood her ground, though she couldn't help but wince at the force of Tracy's words. "I was trying to help, grandmother. You always taught me to be resourceful." "Resourceful? Is that what you call it?" Tracy shot back, her eyes flashing with anger. "I call it reckless. You've put us all in jeopardy with your little stunt." Brooklyn opened her mouth to defend herself, but Tracy cut her off. "Don't you dare make excuses. I don't care what your intentions were. You need to start thinking about the consequences of your actions." As the tongue lashing continued, Brooklyn felt her resolve begin to crumble. She had always looked up to Tracy, admired her strength and cunning. But today, those same qualities were turned against her, and it stung more than she cared to admit. Finally, when it seemed like Tracy had exhausted her supply of harsh words, she took a step back, her expression softening ever so slightly. "You have potential, Brooklyn," she said, her tone still firm, but with a hint of begrudging respect. "But if you don't learn to rein in that impulsiveness, you're going to end up dragging this family down with you." Brooklyn nodded, swallowing her pride. "I understand, grandmother. I'll do better." Tracy gave a curt nod, as if to say the matter was settled, though Brooklyn knew it would be a long time before she could truly regain her grandmother's trust. As Tracy turned and walked away, Brooklyn couldn't help but feel a renewed determination. She would prove herself, no matter what it took. A day of turmoil and new beginnings. As the day came to a close, the residents of Port Charles were left to grapple with the events that had unfolded. Rick Lansing's encounter with Margus had set him on edge, while Nina and Cody's unexpected bond hinted at the possibility of new alliances. Laura's bad news weighed heavily on her shoulders, threatening to unravel the progress she had fought so hard to achieve. And Brooklyn's clash with Tracy left her more determined than ever to prove her worth. In a town where secrets and lies were the currency of the day, the events of August 27 would leave their mark, setting the stage for new conflicts, unexpected friendships, and the ever-present drama that made General Hospital a place where anything could happen.